Oruwariye. Oruwariye. Okay, forgive me guys if I can't say Amani O's last name. I'm not going to be saying it off. But today, guys, welcome back. We're going to be talking about Amani Oruwariye and why I believe he's the most underrated corner in the National Football League and the most underrated player on the Detroit Lions. So let's talk about him. So first off, I think there's some nice things to talk about when it comes to Amani O's size. He's 6'2", 205 pounds, and if you look at Amani Oruwariye's combine, and you compare it to current Detroit Lions corner that was drafted in the 3rd round. Sorry, EC2. They're literally the same size, 6'2", 205, 6'2 and a half, 205, 31, 3/8, 32 and 1/4. Both run 4.4s. So I just want to say there's definitely deserved hype for Amani that we're not giving to we're giving Iffy, but not Amani. Amani is just so underrated. The only reason this guy is not so popular is because he hasn't been Darius Slay getting 9 interceptions in the season. But with Darius, I actually let me just show you some stats when it comes to Amani. 45 tackles were solo. He had 53 tackles in total. That man is a great tackler by himself. He did have a pick. And let's look. Who did he pick off in his career? He picked off Teddy Bridgewater. It's not much impressive, right? Picked off Aaron. He picked off Haskins. So he's had at least some picks, and one of them was a very impressive one versus Green Bay. So he's definitely not this like masterful pick guy. Like I said, he's not known because he's a pick player. But this guy's a great at just coverage. Amani O had 59.3% completion percentage with 3 touchdowns allowed this last season. Now, I'm just saying, this guy was just fantastic. Let's compare that to other professional corners that we all know and love. Darius Slay, the guy who's supposed to replace way worse season than him, 76.7% completion percentage, 3 touchdowns allowed, and even more yards allowed too. 59.3 to high 70s is pretty impressive. I also want to compare one other thing when it comes to Darius. Darius started out a bit slow too. He had 0 picks his first year, and only had 2, and then he had his explosion of 8, then 3, 2, 1. So Darius kind of started out slow himself in his career. So who's not to say that Amani can explode this next season? Let's compare him next to Byron Jones. Better completion percentage than Byron Jones, less touchdowns allowed of Byron Jones. Lions had a worse defense than the Miami Dolphins, yet Byron was worse than Amani. And Amani was a #1 corner for the Lions this past season, with Trufant always being hurt and Okudah having to be #2 or always being hurt himself. Amani O was a #1 as a sophomore and played this well. I'm scared to compare that to Marcus Peters. He was far better than Marcus Peters. 64% to 3 touchdowns allowed. The only thing that Peters had was yards. They had the same amount of touchdowns allowed, but he had a way higher completion percentage, and even worse, missed tackle percentage. Let's compare that to James Bradbury. 59 to 61.5, 4 touchdowns, higher completion, more touchdowns down. Only thing better is yards. Richard Sherman. Amani O in the last 3 years. I mean, all of Richard Sherman's last 3 years, even his prime year in 2019. Amani O was better than Richard Sherman. Now, I'm not saying he's going to be a top 5 cornerback this past year, but Amani O is a lot better than a lot of the corners that are getting press and media and talked about. Let's even just compare. The Lions had the 20th ranked pass rush, and they even lost Trey Flowers. The only player they had was Romeo, and they acquired Everson Griffin late in the season in week 9. They were just awful. And trading that in there wasn't doing great. He had only 13 pressures. And they had named one good defensive tackle in pass rush. There was not a single good defensive tackle that the Lions had at defensive tackle. I legitimately believe Amani O can break out this next season. Let's even just talk about the Lions had just in total the 32nd ranked defense, and Amani O was that good. Now imagine with a better head coach, better defensive coordinator, better players. You got the 3 good defensive tackles, and Levi O, Ali McNeil, and Michael Brockers. Now you got a healthy Trey Flowers, hopefully another seasoned experience of Romeo Okwara. You got a healthy Julian Okwara, a better linebacker core of Derrick Barnes and Alex Anzoni additions, and another season under the belt for Jamie Collins. You got a better secondary coach in Aubrey Pleasant. You got 2 guys who are just amazing secondary guys, just in general, Glenn and Pleasant. I just think there's a lot of potential that you have with Amani O. He's got the size that if he has it, even though he's getting all this hype, he has the tangibles to do it. Amani O is the most underrated corner in the NFL. I legitimately believe that this next season he can become a top 16 cornerback. And honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if he gets top 14. And the main reason I don't think he will get that is because of picks. If he can become more of a ball hawk, and he can get himself like up to the 4 or 5 pick number. Let's even compare that to Quinton Dunbar, the Detroit Lions' great addition. Quinton Dunbar. If we go into him, everyone's just saying, okay, it's gonna be Quinton this next season, right? We go to advanced stats. Amani O had a better, arguably, almost in terms of completion percentage, a better year than Quinton, with only 1 more touchdown allowed. The only thing, if Amani O can cut down, honestly, just in yardage, he's going to be just amazing. This last season, Quinton Dunbar was worse. The season before his breakout season, he was worse. Amani O's potential is still amazingly high. And the fact that no one talks about him, despite the fact that he has honestly just been a fantastic player for the Lions, I think it's just outrageous that anyone looking at... I even saw an article the other day that said Amani O might get cut, which is just ridiculous. It will not happen. Amani O can even play slot. He can play outside. He can be number 1. He can be a number 2. He's a good tackler. 53 tackles. He is a good player, and I fully believe that we're going to see another good season from Amani O, and I honestly believe he's going to be competing for the number 1 spot. I do not believe Dunbar is just going to be handed the number 1 spot when Amani O just had a good season, when he was up with the likes of guys like Byron Jones, who just got paid the highest contract and was doing as good as guys like Marcus Peters, who's known as one of the best corners in football. I just believe that if the only reason he is not this most hyped player is maybe his yardage and his picks, but of course you let yardage happens. He had Tracy Walker have a complete bust season after looking great in 2019. You had Will Harris playing, who was just not that great in 2020. He showed promise at times, but only not allowing touchdowns. You had Duron Harmon, who was pretty good for a bit, but then he just kind of choked at the second half of the season. He had a terrible linebacker core. He had no pass rush. Now hopefully you got the improved pass rush of Trey Flowers, Romeo, healthy Julian, Brockers, Levi Alim, and maybe even a healthy Hand in there. Maybe we can see what happens with the new additions of Charles Harris as well. Maybe Derrick Barnes can even get some pass rush in there. Hopefully Tracy Walker rebounds in 2021 as well. I just believe that he's going to surprise everyone this next season. I legitimately think he can get 55 tackles and like 2 to 3 picks and get double-digit passes defense and repeat his advanced stats. And that's my video for Amani O and why I think he's the most underrated quarterback in the National Football League. Welcome to the Den, and if any of you guys I would love if you guys could leave a comment and like and subscribe. See you later, guys. One Pride.